Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Sharon's Nail Art and More. So here is an image of the nails that I did. These are very fall, autumn-esque with the maple leaves. So here I'm just showing you what I'm using as far as the disinfectant spray, and this is from ASP. You could get it at any of your local Sally stores. And so this is her previous set. I'm using a 100-180 grit nail file, and here I'm just disinfecting both of our nails. I disinfect my cuticle pusher. And here I'm just pushing back the cuticle, getting ready to do the backfill. So I push the cuticles back and I end up using my 2-week fill drill bit and my cuticle nail bit to get all the dead skin. And these are the magenta pearl tips that she wanted, and she had like a magenta holo glitter done with them too last couple weeks. So that is my 2-week nail drill bit, and that just gets the back perimeter of where it grew out so that you can lay your acrylic in there nicely. It just kind of gets around where that lifting is. And I would not recommend using this if you don't know what you're doing. If you're not trained or have practiced enough with a nail file, I would not suggest using one because you can hurt someone really badly if you don't know what you're doing. So I just continue to do that. And so here I'm on the last finger, just continuing to get all that lifting up. She likes her nails long and square. I gotta admit, I'm not used to doing too many square sets. I do mostly coffin or stiletto / almond. I find square are a little bit more difficult to do unless you're doing like the one ball. But this is a regular client of mine, so you know, it's gotten a lot easier for me as far as laying the acrylic on her nail because I am using a bigger brush now. So now I'm just going in and etching the back portion of where it grew out near the cuticle. And I like these files for that reason because they're rounded on the side. And I've already scored the edges so I don't cut my client. So I use the 180 grit side. Obviously it's smoother, it's not as gritty. You're not gonna hurt your client with that side. So I go around the edges and the side walls with the rounded side and around the cuticles. Excuse me. And this nail had a lot of lifting, so I had to take that all the way down. And so I'm just smoothing that out, making it as flush as possible so that when I lay the acrylic, obviously I don't have a big mountain. But here I'm just getting in, getting that flush. Excuse my lighting because my camera kept going out. The flash kept going out every few minutes. I have no idea what's going on with that. But I want to make sure that I have my channel current and have videos out to you guys. I gotta admit, it's very difficult editing and recording, especially if you don't have like the proper, I guess, cameras and editing software and stuff like that, because that stuff can get very expensive. So I'm just finishing etching that and blending it and making it so it basically you can't even tell that where the growth starts or ends, so that when I fill the gap it just looks like one cohesive nail. And I pretty much just etch the surface so that my acrylic has something to stick to. I love those nails, they're so pretty. A lot of times, I'm using my OPI Band-Aid, and I just lay 2 coats of this before I use my acid-based primer. But a lot of times, like I was saying, I don't get to record my clients because a lot of times they're in a rush. And with recording, I have to pause and stop sometimes and set up the camera. And a lot of times it's taking away from the time that I could actually be working. So I don't always get the opportunity to record. But when I do, I definitely take advantage of it. This is a day she actually came on her day off, so I had the time to record. Now I'm using my No Lift Nails Acid Base Primer. Now with Acid Base Primer, you want to make sure that it's dry before you lay your acrylic. With non-acid primer, you can lay the acrylic on it while it's still wet. So I go in with 2 coats of this. I do 1 coat on all the nails, and then I lay my second one right before acrylic application, but obviously I let it dry enough before I lay the acrylic. She absolutely loved these nails. And she actually has 2 jobs. Like, she works a lot with her hands, so she's always dinging them and getting lifting on 1 or 2. Or I remember one time she snagged her nail and the whole thing came off, so I had to let that heal. I couldn't do one of her fingers for like a few weeks, so. Who are you talking to? I'm doing a voiceover. Sorry. My daughter asked me who I was talking to, because I guess it looks like I'm talking to myself. So here I'm just laying the ball of acrylic as close to the cuticle as I can get it without touching the skin, and patting it from side wall to side wall, and then the bulk of it in the center. Obviously you don't want the bulk of acrylic on your side walls because that wouldn't look too good, and that would leave you with a lot of filing to do. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about my voiceovers. I'm not that great at them. I don't know if you guys prefer the music or if you like the voiceovers, but either way, let me know below. So I'm just adding a little more acrylic to the back near the cuticle. If you notice that you have like a little gap anywhere, don't be afraid to add a little more acrylic, because you definitely don't want there to be like a huge gap where it looks like, oh my goodness, she's already due for a fill. No, you don't want that. Definitely take some practice. And I definitely have a long way to go. I absolutely love doing nails though. Definitely considering getting a different container for my acrylic, because I don't like how it like sticks to the edges of my bowl there. So I just wait for the ball of acrylic to polymize before I set it down. And then I just spread it out as much as I can. Get as close to that cuticle as I can without touching. And then I start patting it from side to side and then dragging down. You see, I do my sides first and then I come to my middle, depending on what the situation is. But for the most part, that's what I do. If I have to add more to the free edge, I will. But in most cases, when you're doing your fill, you don't really need too much at the free edge unless you've taken too much bulk off with your file. I definitely need a better setup so that you guys can see my application process better. I have really no idea how to use my digital camera. I need to really learn because my phone really ain't doing the trick no more. So I just move on to the center nail here. And with this set, I'm just doing a clear fill, and I'm going to be painting over with color changing gel polish. And it's going to be in an orange color that shifts to like a yellowy orange. And then I use ultra fine hollow glitters in 2 colors from Born Pretty, and I go over the color so you can't see the underneath magenta. She wanted a fall design, like a Thanksgiving design, so. And of course I have like every holiday stamping plate except for a Thanksgiving one, so I had to get creative. If anybody knows how to add music in the background of editing while you're talking, but like having the music kind of quiet, and then when you're done talking it gets louder. I don't really know how to do that, and I definitely don't want to leave gaps like in between talking because that could get pretty boring. Just bear with me, guys. You guys have been awesome. I really appreciate all your support, so. I just add a little more here. Make sure the structure of my nail is good. And my apex is where it needs to be. Okay, so I move on to the next hand. Thumbs can be a little more difficult if you don't have a big enough brush, for sure. I use a size 14. And it is a alpha, not an alpha, I'm sorry. It's a Kolinsky brush. And I purchased it on AliExpress. I love this brush. I actually ended up getting, I had my first one, it got misplaced, so I ended up ordering like 3 more because I just love how my application comes out with this brush. Just makes it so much easier for me. I don't know why. Obviously with Alpha Brush, if you had a size 14, it would be way bigger than this. And I think that's the difference between Alphas and a lot of other brushes. So I just make sure my edges are good. I add a little bit more to where I need it, just to make sure it's as flush as possible. And I have acrylic where I need it, and I have my apex where I need it. So as you can see, I left like the bulk of the acrylic in the center, and I just kind of pat, pat, pat over to the side. And if I have any too high up, I just try to go around that perimeter with the stroke of my brush when it's flat. And if I need to add some to the tip, I do, which I do here. And you just kind of add it to the tip and work it over. And I just pull up the sides, and then I work my way to the center. And then I pull down, wipe, pull down, wipe, pull down, wipe, pull down, wipe, pull down, wipe. Fix the free edge, make sure it's flat, and then you're good. And I move on. So I've moved on to painting, and this is the very pretty orange chameleon color changing gel polish from Elite 99. I really like their gel polishes, actually. I haven't had too many issues with them. I think it really depends more on the person than anything. But this goes from this beautiful like darker orange to like a lighter yellowy orange. And I just paint all the nails in this. And then I move on to my holo glitter. And she's already curing the other ones in the lamp. I do 2 coats of this, just to make sure the coverage is somewhat decent before I put the glitter on so you can't see. I actually thought the effect was kind of cool underneath with the tip, but I definitely don't want anybody to be able to see the glitter, you know? So in moving on to her middle finger, I'm just making sure that I get good coverage on each of her nails. The middle and the thumb had that hollow, chunky kind of fuchsia glitter, so I just want to make sure that my coverage is somewhat decent with the 2 coats before I move on to my holo glitter burnishing. It doesn't have to be perfect because with the holo glitter that I burnish into the tacky layer, it's going to cover up the color in the background. So I just wanted to have something as, excuse me, as the foundation so that it's not just, you know, the magenta tips with the fill, you know. So basically I would compare it to having like a picture, a painted picture, and having like a sky in the background or something like that. You want something laid on your foundation so that it doesn't just look like glitter burnishing over a magenta tip. So this was a great color to use in comparison to the burnt orange and the gold holo ultrafine glitter. It matched really, really well with the darker orange and then the lighter golden orange when it got warm. So I thought it was perfect for that. And I just move on to her ring finger, making sure I get really good coverage. And, you know, before I did lay this down, I did use my Kiara Sky base gel, the base coat, which I felt like worked really, really well. I cured it for 60 seconds under my lamp for each hand. I use a hybrid. It is a UV and LED lamp, and I actually feel like it cures a lot faster than just the regular UVs. So I will be on the market to buy a newer lamp because with most of my clients, they could fit 4 fingers, but not the thumb, depending on how long their nails are. But for this client, who's a regular of mine, her nails are always pretty long, so she can never fit all 5 fingers. And so I'm going to be getting a lamp. I'm looking at the Sun 5, I believe, or the newer Sun 2.0 lamp that has the gradual 99-second timer, so you don't get like fast heat spikes. Some people are really sensitive to that, so they do have lamps out there that gradually get hotter, and that's the one that I'm going to be looking to buy. And I actually found it on AliExpress for, I want to say $39, which is a real bargain because those lamps can go anywhere upwards of $70, $80, depending on where you get it. I use AliExpress a lot. I actually buy my Born Pretty products from AliExpress on their Born Pretty store selection on there. So anybody that's looking for a bargain as far as nail products, I would suggest AliExpress for glitters, for nail stamping plates, whatever you're looking for. So I realized I didn't record doing the holo glitter burnishing, and I really apologize about that. But as you can see, it is Born Pretty. I've used my mermaid / unicorn pigment brushes, and here I am just using one of my flat gel brushes, like a mini one that I have for stuff like this, and I'm laying my Born Pretty rhinestone / jewelry UV glue to lay down like a S, and I pick up the maple leaf in the pearlescent, iridescent, burnt orange colors, or burnt red or reddish orange, and then an orange color, and I lay those in like a S swoop across the middle nail and the thumb. And I'm picking it up with my crystal katana. If anybody is interested, I do have these crystal katanas for $25 shipped. They work really, really well. Honestly, they're made for picking up rhinestones, so I'm just using it for picking up the leaves, but they're really not made for picking up stuff like that. But it does have another end where you can push like your rhinestones and stuff into place. So I think that this set came out so pretty. And my client was in love with it. I love how the hollow glitter burnish, because where the color was warm and lighter golden orange, I laid the gold glitter. And then when it was the darker orange at the tip, I put the burnt orange, like ambery color at the tip there and blended them. And so I use my IBD no wipe top coat just to float a nice layer of top coat over the top of those leaves. And the nails that I do have the leaves on, I do top coat it 2 or 3 times. Excuse me. It's not bad timing actually too for the design. So whenever you have like stuff like this on the nail, you want to make sure, like, obviously if it was like a bigger piece of jewelry or something like that, I might have done a different method, but you know, in hindsight, maybe I should have used like a UV gel over just the whole nail. But the IBD UV/LED top coat is really thick, not really thick, but thick enough, and it just creates a really nice, stable, glossy, really shiny layer of gel over the top of the nail. And I love this top coat, honestly. Like, it's my go-to. I do have a couple other ones.
Do you want stones or no?
I got the ASP one, universal top coat, which leaves an inhibition layer, which I'm excited to try for my glitter burnishing.
I want to get it in more
and
colors.
I did get one with
pink, teal, like a charcoal black.
What's the brand?
And then these 2 colors, but I want to get it in like greens and reds and all kinds of blues pigment and turquoises and stuff.
And for the life of me, I cannot remember.
So I'm gonna order the bags. They're gonna be huge amounts too.
And so I just make sure I top coat each and every one of those nails really well. And I use C&D solar oil for her cuticles, just so they're nice, and because they were, you know, at the end of each session, you're going to have really dry cuticles. So you want to make sure that you put all of those nutrients back into her cuticles. So the top coat I was talking about is from Super Nail. And the top coat that came with it is a no wipe as well. So I am going to try that out because it looks decent and not too thick but not too thin. So I just finished up her session here, putting the cuticle oil on, and I have multiple cuticle oils and I love each and every one of them. Some are scented, some, I mean, all of them are pretty much scented, but they're all really good. Like the one with the dropper there is like a 24 karat infused one, and that's really good for the skin. The C&D solar oil is really good. I love this stuff. And so these are the nails, guys. I hope that you really enjoyed watching this video. I have been trying to, you know, get my videos shorter. It is pretty hard, like, because, you know, you have to cut out a lot of the footage. But I love how sparkly these came out, and my client loves her nails. And that's what it's all about for me, just making sure that my clients are happy. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. And until my next set, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching my video. Thank you so much. Enjoy the pictures at the end, guys. Bye.